Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the meeting on Standing Committee of Social Development. We are here to Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act, a public hearing and clause-by-clause review. Before we start, I'll ask Mr. Bolio to open with a prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do a short prayer for our meeting today. I'd like to pray to the Heavenly Father that today He guides us to make good decisions and the important work that we have to do for the people of the Northwest Territories. Going over this legislation with the Minister of Justice, I pray that we're able to do this with respect and dignity appropriate to the positions we all hold. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Bolio. At this time, I'll ask the committee to introduce themselves, starting with on my left.
Yeah, my name is Tom Bolio, MLA for Tuneda-Willowday.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Michael Madley, MLA for Detchell.
Shane Thompson, Nahende. Also, our log clerk is Toby Kruger, correct? Policy analyst, Stephen Dunbar. Our committee clerk is Jennifer Frankie Smith and Cynthia James. At this point in time, I'll turn the floor over to my other colleague. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Julie Green, MLA for Yellowknife Center.
Thank
It's the first time I've ever seen a mic.
Thank you. At this point, Standing Committee on Social Development is holding a public review of Bill 58, Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act. Honorable Lou Siebert, Minister of Justice, will provide his opening comments on Bill 58. Following the minister's members may comments or pose any questions they have regarding the bill. Minister Siebert, I turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here today to discuss Bill 58, the Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act. With me today is Mark Aitken, Assistant Deputy Minister, Justice, Laura Jeffrey, Legislative Counsel, Ms. Heather Riviere, my Ministerial Special Assistant, and Young Trin, Policy Manager. This bill proposes to make targeted and necessary legislative amendments to 9 acts that support the justice system in the Northwest Territories. This bill amends various statutes administered by the Department of Justice to repeal provisions of an act to amend the Children's Law Act and amend the Children's Law Act to establish a recalculation service, amend the Coroner's Act to clarify the responsibilities of the chief coroner and coroners in respect of inquests, and authorize the release of the body of the deceased if an investigation is complete, amend the Evidence Act to add provisions in respect of the admissibility of electronic records, and repeal provisions that allow the court to refuse to admit photographic film prints into evidence, add an updated definition for prime rate to the provisions of the Adjudicature Act relating to prejudgment and post-judgment interest, add a reference in the Jury Act to exemptions from jury service contained in the Legislative Assembly and Executive Council Act, increase fee rates in respect of the registration of instruments and caveats under the Land Titles Act, amend the Public Trustee Act to establish a mechanism for the disposition of unclaimed property, amend the Residential Tenancies Act to provide for the appointment of a chief rental officer, adjust provisions relating to service and the giving of reasons, and allow regulations to be made in respect of fees for services provided, and amend the Retirement Plan Beneficiaries Act to provide for the discharge of the administrator of a plan. Overall, this bill contains a number of measures to improve access to justice and service delivery, which the government believes will significantly assist residents of the Northwest Territories. Of particular note, the changes to the Children's Law Act will improve the process for recalculating support order amounts payable under both that act and the Federal Divorce Act. This will make it easier for parents to obtain changes in the amounts payable under support orders to better reflect current circumstances. These amendments will allow the government to implement this long-awaited service by the end of 2019. In addition, the proposed changes to the Residential Tenancies Act will help address the processing times for orders. Members of this Assembly and the public have stated many times that the timelines faced by those relying on the hearing process as set out in the legislation are too long. Contributing to the delays are certain requirements set out in the existing legislation, including the requirement to provide written reasons for every order. Mr. Chairman, I would be pleased to answer any questions that the committee may have regarding Bill 58. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Minister Siebert. Any questions, comments in regards to the bill? Okay, seeing none. I believe we can now conclude with this stage of our review. Is there anyone from the general public who wishes to make amendments on this bill? Or comments, sorry. If there are no further comments, does the committee agree to proceed to a clause-by-clause review of Bill 58, Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act? The committee agreed to conduct a clause-by-clause review of Bill 58. Let's turn to page 1 of the bill. We will defer the title of the bill until the end. Clause 1.
Agreed.
Clause 2.
Agreed.
Clause 3.
Agreed.
Clause 4.
Agreed.
Clause 5.
Agreed.
Clause 6.
Agreed.
Clause 7.
Agreed.
Clause 8.
Agreed.
Clause 9.
Agreed.
Clause 10.
Agreed.
Clause 11.
Agreed.
We will now return the bill number and title, Bill 58, Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act. Does the committee agree?
Agreed.
Does the committee agree that Bill 58, Justice Administration Statutes Amendments Act, is now ready for consideration in Committee of the Whole? Recognizing Ms. Green?
Mr. Chair, I move that Bill 58, Justice Administration Statutes Amendment Act, be reported to the Assembly as ready for consideration in Committee of the Whole.
Motion is in order. To the motion?
Question.
Question has been called. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Motion is carried. Bill 58, Justice Administrative Statutes Amendment Act, will be reported to the Assembly as ready for consideration in Committee of the Whole. Thank you, Minister Siebert. Thank you to your officials. Do you have any closing comments before we adjourn this part of the meeting?
I'd just like to say thank you to committee for the work that's been done on this. This does affect many pieces of legislation and may not be as dramatic as some other pieces of legislation we deal with, but it is important for the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister Siebert. At this point in time, we will adjourn this portion of the meeting. Thank you.